next couple of days, but I've got an order coming in Kansas City for wheat seeds, so I can combine that trip.
I need a ride this week. Maybe I could take my motorcycle.
To Kansas City?
Yeah.
Let's coordinate on that. Because they're going to call me when the order comes in. They haven't called me yet, but I can call them and see if it's in today.
It's coming a little closer, maybe by
we can
over there.
Gather around the.
I gotta go Wednesday, I think.
Wednesday?
Yeah.
I think that'll work out just great. We finished the floor. We still need to do a lot of stuccoing in the third room, inside and both exteriors on the west and east side. John's going to do the storm door. Oh, we have to move things for trenching, just the roofing material.
Storm door, do we have that?
We have all the storm doors.
Can we just do it? Or?
There's insulation too.
Storm doors are not easy. Storm doors are difficult to do.
Yeah.
We could do it, but it's
just so you're aware, John's been here like 1 day since you've been back away. So I think if we're serious about getting shit done, we need to find someone else because John's just not. He doesn't have the time. Like he says he doesn't have the time. Whether or not he does isn't really the question. But he's saying he isn't. He's not showing up. So.
Okay.
It seems like he's under the thumb of his bus schedule, so it's not something that we can depend on because it's from an external situation. For trenching, we need, or not trenching, for burying the insulation, we need to clear out everything so we can get the live truck in with the bucket. And that's, Graham had a really good point that it should be done before we do terracing, because we can't get a live truck in on terraces. So there's that. But we have plenty to do with stuff going.
And after the waterline trenching.
Exactly.
Wait. What's the steps?
Steps.
trenching.
Trenching. Insulation. Terraces. But
Okay.
before all of those things happen, we need to move that shit out of the way.
Even the boulders and shit? Or the gravel piles?
The gravel piles, the roof sheeting, we need to move it out behind. I was thinking behind Hablab because we're going to be building more in that direction. And all the wood, and all the pallets, and all the couches.
And all the clay boulders, so we can do deeper in the part of the trenching we need to do. Right.
Don't forget about the T-bill.
Depending, yeah. That's awesome. See if we can try a second pass through it. I think it might be possible without moving all those boulders. It might just be like a few people like spot checking, just because there's only a few little problems.
The floor just needs to be tamped. That would only take 1 or 2 people. Both floors need to be tamped finally.
And CB, when's Marshall getting back?
Today.
Today.
We stayed here about 1, I think.
We moved the metal. Did we get an inventory of what's there?
Yep.
Awesome.
What's the status on Marshall ordering this stuff?
He has all the info he needs. I don't know if he ordered or not.
I did a big order for him.
You did?
From Surplus Center. I think it's here already. And there might be, I think there's one of the material things they sent me, but him and Martin have running back and forth about the specs on it before I ordered it.
Have we made an order?
On what?
CEV seal?
I don't know. Haven't heard.
So for agriculture, we got a good box for making seed balls, so we can do that anytime at all. But right now my priority is more on trenching and testing the plow. I can get it mounted today and we can test it and make a video later on.
Are you going to look at NCRS? High Tunnel Program?
Did you send me the link yet?
No.
Send me the link and I'll check it out.
Do you have Jonathan's email?
Jonathan from Fairshare?
No. Yeah, I'll email you.
Okay.
Another thing about the CB, the terminal block, the last part of the control box, that needs to be done before everything can be just simply wired into place and the control box is done at that point. Deployment of a bunch of equipment, meaning that we have equipment that is, all the processes associated with setting up equipment is done and it's just ready to go, as opposed to having to say, move the chop saw somewhere that you can actually use it and then putting the cord into the power plug. So things like that, deployment before finishing up the terminal block for the control box so that we're doing operations efficiently. Efficiency first.
Also, I'm blocked on the trencher because we're trying to replace that hose, but the hose is within the hydraulic unit. And you said to extend it, so I can try that later.
Let's get the trenching up. I propose if we want to get this thing dug by winter, or rather, if we want to, I would propose we still go forward with the micro houses as a possibility, because I would propose that the CEB press, we can get it up within the next couple of days, and the trenching we'd have to do, because otherwise there's rain on Wednesday, so we want to see if we can get it in. Otherwise, we're going to be potentially
There's really rain
waiting.
on Wednesday?
Well, that's what it said.
Oh. Which
So,
forecast did you look at?
weather.com.
Okay.
So let's try to see if we can put in a lot of hours on that. Is the controller pretty much for the CB press completely ready, or what's the status on that?
The terminal block, like I mentioned, is the last thing. So
How much time does it take to build that terminal block in?
the terminal block depends on the deployment of our equipment. So it's already been, like the metal for the terminal block's already been cut, drilled, and cut again.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. The only thing remaining really is the plastic base for it. But of course, we don't really have a deployed functional area for circular saw operations. So every time you want to do a circular saw operation, you have to retrofit up this jig, and that takes a bit of time, and that's happening again and again and again over a bunch of other projects. So I realized, let's deploy
Circular saw?
Yeah.
For?
Cutting the well, the aluminum was in the previous project, but for the plastic for the terminal block.
Why not jigsaw?
Access to jigsaw was unavailable.
Okay, let's find our jigsaw. So that should be. What do you estimate if we find a jigsaw? How much time would it take to do that for the terminal block finishing? Because I'm looking at when is the earliest we can get this CEB press running, because we want to test it. I would say so. Today I'll come in a workshop I guess 3 or so is my time, but I want to spend from 3 to later. But in that time we can get the trencher going, or trencher. We can pretty much start getting the brick press going. If we have the
after deployment control box. Deployment just for the control box is probably going to be today.
Today? That'll be good. Okay.
So water, we're going to pick up the hoses, and I talked about the trench already. I need
Tubing,
to
the water
know-
tubing, you mean?
Yeah, the water tubing. I need to know which pump we're going to use and which one befits our electrical situation in the old workshop. Do you have a good idea about that, Marcin?
We want to use a submersible pump and a pressure tank. We need to make a pump house next to the well. That will be easiest place to put it, unless we want to run wires all the way from the house back to here. If we put a
pressure tank in the...
Yeah, we have a pressure tank. So for winter, we got to make it winterproof, so make a little pump house that's insulated, so we'd have to build that up. I would suggest we wire it from this workshop as opposed to running the wires all the way from the Hab Lab. No sense to do that. We've got power here.
Great. And we have the pump already? Or
Pump,
we
we've got one. We'd have to test it, but if not, that's something we pick up at Menards, like now.
Should I
or
put
sometime.
in an order for one, or is it something?
Let's
we
look
can
at what
just-
we have. We can test out what we have right here. Yeah,
Okay,
let's
I don't know
just
what
test
that
this
is,
one.
so I'm
Yeah,
just-
yeah, we'll go through that.
All right.
Yep.
One of the generators called Snap.
Uh-huh.
he does it.
Oh, he does.
Yeah. So that.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Past that, we have Sawmill's back on track as Marcin's here. Sawmill.
Yeah, I don't know when to fit that in. I think the priorities would be. What's the status of the power cubes being on the tractors? How much time does it take? Do we put them on? Like, what is that situation?
The power cubes are all on the tractors.
Are they both connected or just single?
The one with the backhoe is single. That one, I don't know.
And that one's. We got to put the tracks on. How come the tracks aren't on? Are they fitting right now, or they don't fit right now? Did you let the air out?
The air?
Did you let the air out of the tires?
No.
To put the tracks on, you have to let out the air.
They're all the bigger tires.
and we already tested. We tested even with one big tire and one small tire. Or no, with
We tested even 2 small tires, and
Yeah.
it was difficulty. And we had about.
Okay, but did you test it with the air out of the tires?
Mm-mm.
No, you got to
Well, you
do it
can't-
without the tires, without the air.
But you can't get 1 foot out of the area of the tires.
Say what?
You can't get 1 foot out of the area of the tires. Even if you put air out of the bigger tires, it's not going to be 1 foot.
Yunso needs 1 foot of slack to get
Yeah,
the tracks on.
because the tires are 4 inches diameter larger than the small tire.
Outer diameter shouldn't matter for that, should it?
Outer diameter of the wheels does matter for tracks.
The circumference is what matters. Half of the circumference, and it's like 4 inches bigger in diameter, so it's like 2 inches more.
Okay, let's take a look at that in practice with the. I'll take a look at that, see if we can throw them on. I mean, if not, we'll just. It's not going to be a foot. We'll see. We'll see. Because it's tricky to get them on, but there's techniques to get them on. And you're using the ratchet, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
the cable.
So,
We'll
site
see.
plan. Me and Graham have been doing a lot of work. We're gonna take some points later on to get another contour line outside the Mad Lab. We have the terraces outlined and the greenhouse in a 2-dimensional plan. That includes paths, and we're continuously thinking about what the other parts of the property needs. Right now we're listing, and drawings will come later, but we'd like to talk to you guys in a house meeting about the Hab Lab and surrounding area.
Yeah, we think the priorities, well, we assume the priorities are greenhouse and like a storage outside of Hab Lab for tools and water and insulation. So it needs to get done before winter. But I don't know, we need to discuss that.
I'd like to propose, like at dinner, I'll show a few slides of what winterization would mean, and then see what we want to decide on that. That plus, the construction finishing up and winterization issues. Let's see what we do with that and the potential construction plans for later. Let's put that on a. I'll do a little presentation. We could discuss that. Let's do that.
Power cube.
Power cube.
Putting the pump on today.
Okay.
I might need some help with that. That's about it. Power cube.
Mm-hmm.
Soil pulverizer.
Soil pulverizer. We can drag those both in here. We should get them up and running as soon as possible. We might need some more hoses, but should get them operational because if you want to do some CEB, we need those. Basic timeline is from now on. It's like whatever good weather we get, it's potential building time. But if we want to build the structures, whatever greenhouse or whatever else, we got to start with basic foundations on that. So that's something to do. If you want to be building stuff, you can probably get it if we can, like next week. Next week would be the earliest possible, but probably week after.
Are you talking about building a greenhouse next week? Because we need to do terraces before that. It's not realistic to think about it as a next week kind of thing.
Okay, we need to talk about siding and all of that, all those issues. Let's discuss that.
We have a list of priorities, like the insulation and the terraces need to go in before the greenhouse and paths. Things like that, just
Yep.
making an order.
Yep. Yeah, all that stuff. Before we build any more, we want to basically make sure the winterization tasks are pretty much complete. Yeah.
Organization level.
This had our first official but second on the books meeting of the board of directors, and we got a lot of work done. I feel great after that meeting. Colby and Cutting are coming out, so we're going to get our strategic plan finalized and published. And aside from that, there's lots of stuff happening, but I don't have any blocks, so I think it's good.
I've been working on the group action infographic that I mentioned to you before. Called organizational and stuff. Infographic on group action from just breakdown of the theory behind it. Yeah,
As far as the
it's quite cool.
coordinating the
Yeah,
teams,
as
and
far as coordination.
but you were talking about using these scrum boards and revamping them.
Oh, yeah.
Should we
So
do-
now that
talk
we're
about
having
that?
these meetings inside the space, we could try out a third sound system for getting this used efficiently.
Yeah, because it seems like we've got a lot of tasks that we're finding out need to be done within this meeting, but
Yeah.
it's just verbal, so
Yeah, it's just verbal, it's
we
not
can't
recorded.
remember that. So if we could like just be putting tasks like while people are
After
mentioning.
this meeting, let's people who are interested in doing that stick around and start brainstorming for a while before. Yeah. Okay.
Telecom. Kavita.
It's working pretty well, right?
Mine
Occasional.
Mine looks really slow, no more than 1 meg or so, this morning at least.
I think we could bring up a new router to test, see if the router was the issue or, it's something with the modem, so.
Did she test that last time she was here, or she left?
Tested it, but she didn't have a new modem to test it against.
Yeah, she said she was going to bring her old modem up.
Okay.
Her
Router.
router, yeah.
I thought we were just gonna swap the routers between the Hab Lab and this one down here. We didn't do that. We never
I
did
think
that.
so. I
Router
think
swap.
Kavita used an old router we had in the other house,
Did
Okay.
you have
and that works better.
Life track.
So we mentioned before we're gonna try putting the tracks on today, and then that'll be operational for this plow. If we can get the tracks on. If not, we'll have to use the other tractor.
And the other one just needs hoses. I was thinking that the pressure must be higher in that hydraulic unit because I had 2 hoses, like both hoses burst within the same day using that hydraulic unit. If there's a pressure relief valve we can use, it might help.
Yeah, let's look at that.
Yeah.
torch table? There instead shipped ready stepper drivers within a week, and that was like 2 days ago. So that's that. Otherwise,
Shipping date within a week.
shipped ready
Ship ready.
within a week, and that was a few days
Okay.
ago.
Good.
And the cold thaw, barbecue and electronics awaiting food has been awesome.
Yeah.
Yes,
Sherry.
thank you, Sherry.
Yay!
So we need to figure out, we're gonna track all the expenses we've made.
Yeah, I'm working on the spreadsheets.
So Sherry
Regarding
takes
food?
it. Yeah.
And then I've also started the job description for
Okay.
Awesome.
recruiting a full-time person.
Awesome. And we have to figure out how to account for the money that's been spent. So everybody's been eating, but probably spending less. One of the proposals is we divide it up and everybody chips in to cover the cost of the food we've already spent, or maybe OC covers some staples or whatever. We have to talk about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. The procedure then.
No, there's been more or less a full week of purchasing going on. It's going to be easier to figure out. You and I were just kind of guesstimating that it might be about $100 a week per person, which works out to be about
That's with
5.
4 contributors. If everybody, it's much less.
Oh, is that with 4?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And I think that everyone's contribution to the food shares, even with 2, prepaying
Two
them all
shares.
with 2 full shares, is about $5.46 a person for all that produce. But it does need to be supplemented. And then somebody could be looking into registering a vehicle, because getting to
We haven't talked about that. I don't know. It'd be great. We need a vehicle, yeah, that we can count on. But we don't know. There's been no official movement on that.
About that, I called my dad and my insurance doesn't cover people outside the family.
Okay.
Videography.
I spent a lot of last week putting. First, I started with the hard drives that I've been given, which are the 2 terabytes and 1 2-terabyte hard drives, and I have indexed everything now so that we've got a pretty coherent and navigable database of all the footage that you had shot by people who came here. As for the phone footage, I've also gone online and downloaded everything from your earliest live track video to the latest Pulverizer video to... I've still got a lot of things to download in that regards, but I'm breaking those down as well and putting them in relevant categories. And there's a lot of stuff online, so that took me a lot of time. And I'm not finished with all the machines, but I've got the live track and the CB pretty much pretty much the best stuff I could find on that, all downloaded and categorized. So we're building up a database. I also did a life of the life track video, so like the entire kind of from the first one you built, that one out there, through to the version 3, and I did it all over a track, over a soundtrack.
I like that.
Have you seen that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I was up to last week. This week I'm probably going to be doing a bit more footage categorization and filming some stuff, because I think there's a lot more happening this week than the previous 2 weeks. Yeah, people could I guess I kind of heard what everyone's doing, but I'm not really sure what was supposed to be happening this week, so...
Should you have a walkie-talkie with you, like in your room?
Walkie-talkie would be great, if I could keep that, and then if there's a team who are doing stuff, just grab a walkie-talkie and let me know.
If there's something during the meeting that is that would be good to get filmed, maybe ask about the timing and then
Yeah.
procedure to pick it up.
Yeah.
Heating.
Who put that on there?
I put it on there because we were discussing winterization, and that's something we should just have it on.
I've started looking into sourcing hydraulic radiators, and there's been talk of rocket stoves for the hotel rooms if we don't want to run pipes through the walls into them. We'll have more on that, once we figure out the best specs on the sizing and the BTUs we need to keep the space.
We had rocket stoves in the motel rooms where the chimneys go.
Out the wall, possibly. We would dispense CO2 and water moisture, so it wouldn't be like smoke billowing out.
So, is there going to be any action on heating, or are we going to settle our other winterization?
He said we would talk about it tonight.
We'll talk about it tonight, yeah.
What's tonight?
Just at dinner.
Construction, remaining construction, winterization plan.
Should we know what we put a date time for dinner then, just so we know everyone's
7?
gonna be there?
7, too early, 7:30?
Can we do 7?
Yeah, I know you want 7, Martin, so yeah, 7's fine.
7.
Oh, yeah.
I could use 3 or 4, as many people as possible, to help clean up that silo. It'll take about an hour if the right amount of people are there. And that could be a fully functioning OSC, CrossFit, weightlifting, mirrors and oil on the skin, loud music, blasted music, and working out in that room. That could be really awesome. Just kidding. But, so I don't know if anyone. I've got a timeshare going with Graham. So if anyone else wants to get in, that'd be great.
I can help.
Fully indebted.
You know what the timing on that is?
Well, it sounds like we got at least 2 people. So an hour sometime this week, in the next 2 days, maybe today or tomorrow. Lots of people.
Okay. Alright. I don't know how well it fits into the categorization we have, but development platform, just want to call out, has started. It started a while before, but this is not only the little procedure with the diagram, but also expands onto the field of a more holistic perspective of what software information links and hardware equipment, deployed equipment that we have, so that you can just go from software to equipment and just have all that visualization ready. Everything's just going to get done, and then you have the thing in there. Okay, that was poorly explained. Poorly explained.